Welcome back everyone. This is the Vintage Sewing Machine Garage. I wanted to make a video today to follow up with you guys on a machine that I'm working on. I've been giving an overhaul to this Singer 15 class. I originally bought it because I was drawn to the fact that it had the bentwood wooden case, and of course when I purchased it, it was missing some parts, and one of the most obvious was there's a basically a removable cap on these BT style motors that Singer made, and I could tell that someone had opened it up and had tried to maybe, I don't know, take a look at it to see what they thought was wrong. And when I got the machine, it was missing the cap. It also had the plug had been cut on the old cord, which is fine because the old cord was, the plug had a piece of plastic broken off. The cord was bad, and I'm going to basically I have a new cord and foot pedal that will go with this machine. Because it's a double lead and I'm not going to rewire the double lead. I'll explain in another video when I start talking about the old Singer plugs. They can be rewired, but the single leads are a lot easier to deal with just in terms of the limitations of physical space. But anyway, thought I would talk about that. And then as I was inspecting the light fixture, I thought, oh, wait a minute, there's something missing. The top cover of the light fixture is made of a hard plastic, maybe a Bakelite of some sort, I don't know. But inside there is a metal lining, and that lining is sort of an aluminum colored. It may be made of aluminum for all I know. And it's used as a reflector for light, and I don't know if it's also used to maybe help protect the plastic. I'm not sure. Remember, these old incandescent bulbs get very hot. If the bulb works, I can either leave it or replace it with an LED, depending on what the person that purchases the machine wants. It's the LED bulbs are reasonable if you get them online. Anyway, so I thought I'd talk about parts with you guys today. And I'm going to swing the camera over here and show you why it sometimes pays to hold on to things even though they don't work. Whenever I go through sewing machines, I of course am checking, I'm testing things, trying to make sure that something like a motor works well. So here's an example of a motor that I had on a machine, and when I was testing it, it either made sounds that weren't normal, or maybe it was smoking or sparking or something. I didn't like it. So what do I do with these? You think, well, why don't you throw it away? I always make sure that I won't use it. You can see that the lead coming out of this motor, this is not the same motor as that's on the Singer, but you can see, and of course it had a little plug on it. This would have gone probably to it says White Sewing Machine Company. So it would have been probably a North American motor, possibly on a White machine that was made in Japan. In any case, they use those dual outlet plug cords, and of course I simply cut off the plug so it couldn't be plugged in, and then I also labeled it bad. I labeled it as bad, parts only, do not use. So keeping these can be useful. Now, if you have one sewing machine that you're working on and you're going to restore it because you want to sew, and your main goal is not, getting into the hobby of sewing restoration, you may not find this helpful. I don't know. But for those of you who are interested in restoring old sewing machines, over the years, and I have more boxes of this stuff. I have everything, this says Singer cords. Some of these are good cords that I've saved, sometimes because somebody wanted to go from a knee to a foot pedal or vice versa. And if the cords are good, and they have to be really good and pliable, no damage, then I keep them. This says plugs motor parts. And so, I think I can't remember if I mentioned to you guys in another video or not, but there are parts that you can take off of something like a motor that no longer works. The pulley is still useful. The motor brushes and springs and even the caps might be reusable, very likely could be, depending on the motor that they go to. What else? There could be even bolts and securing nuts that I can use. But things like brushes, again, pulleys, can be reused. And I had a old BT motor like the one that again is on the Singer 15 here, and that motor was no good. And I did the same thing. I labeled it like this, but out of that motor, I was able to retrieve parts, a number of different parts, and that included, hooray, it included this very cap along with the screw that I need. And this will be the replacement, right, that I'm going to use for this motor. Okay, so I'm going to basically be able to use this. You'd never want to run the motor with it open like this. The motor was not designed to be used, right? So again, the machine's unplugged. I haven't even installed the new cord yet, but I now have the piece that is missing. Okay, I've checked the brushes on these and they're in excellent shape. So again, I'll be doing a test to make sure that the motor does function, but at least I know I have the part. And if I hadn't saved the old motor that quit functioning and salvaged parts off of it, you know, people say, oh, you know, try to restore everything, and that's not always possible. But you don't want to toss things, because I don't know, it's possible you might be able to get a replacement for this, new or not. Probably, I don't know if new or used, I'm not sure, I've never gone looking for them. But I don't have to pay for the shipping to have it sent to me. I have one, and that's a really useful thing. If you don't have one and you need something like this, you can go to websites like bonanza.com, and there are others, places where people sell old salvaged sewing machine parts. So again, I know it makes me look like a hoarder because I have all these old parts, but I do use them, right? And once a year I'll go through them to see if I still think they're useful or not. And what else is there? Oh, and of course, when I went through my boxes of parts, I also had one of these because I had salvaged an old, basically what I had salvaged was an old light fixture that had come off a Singer, probably not unlike this one. This fixture was used on a number of different Singer models from this era. But sometimes if the light fixture was bad, you know, maybe the wiring was bad and it couldn't be easily rewired. Sometimes you have issues with light fixtures, or maybe something was broken on it. Anyway, I couldn't use it, but remember, light fixtures have parts. You know, even something like a sewing machine light fixture, back in this period, they were designed to come apart, to be disassembled, right? So I have this, and it actually does fit perfectly. It inserts here, right, like so. And so I had that, so that's kind of cool. But anyway, I just wanted to show you guys that if you are interested in restoring sewing machine parts, you may come across a machine sometimes where you cannot use a light fixture or a motor, or there could be any number of things that may come with the machine. You may even get parts that don't even go to that machine. But if you're interested in restoring, hold on to those parts, because you never know. And everyone has limitations in terms of how much space they have. Again, I can store a lot of parts just in these two boxes. I think I have another 2 or 3 boxes max of different parts. You know, cords, maybe it's a belt that is a good belt, but it was the wrong size. You know, I get machines that have all kinds of odd things about them I have to kind of sort through. I was taking just to give you one last example here, I was taking the tension assembly apart on this machine, and as I did, I was glad I did, and of course I do to clean them and inspect them, because some of the parts were on backwards. And you know, that happens sometimes, and you won't know that. You think, oh, you start threading the machine up, it won't sew because the tension is off, and the tension is off not because this assembly is broken, but because someone took it apart and didn't put it back properly. So again, this is a part of the troubleshooting and going through a machine, and this is why you really need to go through the whole machine, because if it's new to you, you really don't know the condition that it's in. And always ask people, are there any parts or sewing accessory things that were associated with this that were in a bag or a box, or, you know, because sometimes, you know, who knows, this part could have been somewhere with the people who I bought this machine from. They told me they didn't know of any. But you never assume that the seller knows what you're talking about. Because they may not be into sewing or sewing machines. So if you say, are the brush caps there? They may say no, because they don't know what you're talking about. They may have seen something like this, but they don't know what that means, right? So always ask. It doesn't hurt, and you never know what the seller might have, and they don't even realize it. It's not like they're trying to hide it from you or not give it to you. They just don't realize they have it, and they may not care because it's just not that important to them, you know? Anyway, here we go, guys, just showing you that sometimes it is helpful to save old parts. So these are 2 parts I did not have to purchase. If you have a light fixture, by the way, that's not working or it's incomplete, you don't have to use the light fixture on a vintage sewing machine. It can be removed entirely, and you can use your own lights, which I prefer to do anyway, because honestly, most vintage sewing machines, their lights are very dim. It's nice to have them for historical purposes. If I put an LED bulb in here, it'll be a lot brighter, but I still need extra light. Many of you who sew well beyond what I can put together when I'm stitching something, many of you I know have extra lighting to help you see, because one of the biggest challenges in sewing is being able to see stuff. You know, threading a needle requires a lot of good visual acuity, or a magnifying glass. But anyway, just wanted to share this to you guys. So it's coming along. The 15 is coming back, and we'll be hopefully getting it ready to sew pretty soon. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we will see you in the next video.